Oh, and it is that time of the week again, and I could not be more excited. What's good, DTL Universe? Welcome in to your favorite golf betting show of record. We call it DTL Golf. We're here every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And just like Japan says in the chat, College World Series is on. Euro Cup Portugal is on. We got to play on that. DTL Golf is on. Oh, yeah, definitely. Ain't getting any work done. Coming off an incredible U.S. Open. We'll talk about it. Rory not in the field this week. We're going to talk about it. The last signature event of the season, the Travelers Championship. It holds a special place in my heart. When I was at ESPN, this was our home tournament, just about 25 minutes from the ESPN campus. Absolutely loved it. Some of the greatest finishes in the history of the PGA Tour happened at this event. But don't let me tell you. Let me bring in two of the greatest minds in the DTL universe today. Because I got to tell you, people are flying all over the place. So we got my main man, Robert Damron, RD. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Coach. How's everybody doing out there in California?
They're good. It is glorious out here. 75 and none of the humidity that your butt sits in down there in Florida, sir. None of it. None of it.
Awful here. Awful.
Now, he is our super sub. Well, he's a mainstay on the morning show. You guys know that, but he can do anything in every sport. He is our numbers guy, Rafael Esparza. Good afternoon, Rafael.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I feel kind of weird to be here because you guys crushed it last week. So I am very nervous. I feel like getting ready to take a test in high school that's either going to say I'm passing or I have to repeat senior year. Very nervous right now.
I would be too, because you're right next to a guy that just played with Steve Stricker and Ernie Els and all the legends of the game, and then he takes time for little old us right here on DTL Golf. I would be nervous too. All right. Now, gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about before we even get to the picks this week. But everybody in the chat, thank you very much for joining us on a Tuesday. If you're watching on demand before Thursday, we thank you for that as well. But, RD, I'm going to start with you because I think it was one of the great finishes, one of the great tournaments, and I think it's one of the greatest turnarounds when you're talking about going from a non-crowd favorite to maybe the biggest babyface in the game right now. I would love your take on the finish of the U.S. Open. Bryson DeChambeau getting number 2.
Exciting finish, unless your name is Rory McIlroy. An unbelievable finish. You could not have scripted it any better. The way 18 kind of ate up Rory's lunch and the way 18 was supposed to eat Bryson's lunch, and he made a miraculous up and down. And as far as you said, turning from heel to babyface, Bryson, I don't know if it's his team and they decided we need to work on a brand, especially since he disappeared off of our radars really to live where no one really watches a whole lot of golf, or if he's just matured and he understands and appreciates the history of the sport, the way that Arnold Palmer carried the sport, the way that Tiger Woods carried the sport, not just with their game, but with their other stuff off the course, even like a Ricky Fowler. Let's talk about how important he is, even though his game struggles, the way he handles the fans, the way he helps carry the sport. And I think Bryson really decided I need to be on this side of carrying the sport that's been so good to me. I don't want to diss it. I don't want to diss the fans. And he has turned a complete 180. I've never seen anyone hang out in the gallery, in the stands with the trophy for hours and hours, just letting people touch, shaking hands, touch the trophy, high fives. Man, it was awesome. Good for you, Bryson DeChambeau.
It did have a very Arnie-type feel to it. And at first, a couple of months ago at the Masters, he was this way. Well, is it fake? PGA Championship. Oh, and now we're starting to move in that direction. And you see all the reports, Rafael, from his camp, from NBC that was doing the reports behind the scenes. This is who he is. You go watch, and I did this. I went to his YouTube channel, and I did a deep dive. This is who he is now. And I got to tell you, if you're a young player and you're out there and you're saying, how do I get more sponsorships? How do I make more money? How do I become a guy that people want to watch? That's who Bryson DeChambeau now is. And he had one of the greatest shots in the history of major golf with that shot on 18 out of the sand. What is your take, Rafael, after what you saw on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't think he's doing it for the money, for sponsorships. So that he has enough money with Live, or what I call it, the AEW Wrestling Live. I just think it has to do with his reputation, and I just think he wants to be liked. And I went to his YouTube channel and forced myself to watch a whole bunch of stuff on him. And he's a likable guy. Maybe because he's skinnier now. Maybe when he was all jacked up, he was so mean. He looked like a little Incredible Hulk on the course because he always looked mean and angry. But now he just looks joyful. I'm watching him with the trophy all over the place on Sunday, and I thought I was watching the Stanley Cup going around on the golf course, people touching it. I was actually shocked that no one took a shot of beer inside of it. So it was fun to watch, and I'm happy for him. I do like Bryson Chandler, but I like the skinny version of him than the mean Incredible Hulk version of him. Just like I like the fat Drew Carey, I don't like the skinny Drew Carey. So it goes both ways.
Let me be clear. I wasn't saying that he was. I was saying if young kids who come out right now, they look at that.
Okay.
That's how you make more money coming out.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need it. He got 200 million or whatever. I wasn't saying that about him. I think you're spot on with that take. By the way, did either one of you see him on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon?
Hilarious.
I did.
Hilarious.
Perfect.
Hilarious. I mean, how can you not, to RD's point, how can you not just enjoy every single minute of it with everybody?
Congrats to his PR people.
What's that?
Congrats to his PR people. I mean, his PR people, they had to put something in his ear, and hats off to them because it's a total 360. He's going to be in a lot of TV commercials. He's going to be like new man. The Mannings might adopt him.
Well, there's a lot of discussion on which player do we miss the most on the PGA Tour. I don't think it's even close. It's not even close.
Not anymore.
Now, RD, the flip side, you already mentioned it, Rory McIlroy, absolutely gutting. And, for all of us I love Roy. I think he's a gentleman, one of the best players of our generation, but it doesn't make him exempt from the fact, and he alluded to it in his post on social media, that this was the most gutting loss of his career. Watching him stand there, RD, in the scoring room all by himself, watching that short putt go in by Bryson and realizing that for the second year in a row, he finished second, 6 straight years inside the top 10, 10 years since he's won a major championship. It was really, really difficult to watch. And because of that, he's not teeing up this week. In fact, he's going to take a full month off until the Scottish Open. What's your take on that?
I fully understand the amount it took out of him. I mean, you could tell how hard he was trying. You can tell how much he wanted it. Skipping this week, even though he is a big deal and he's part of the reason why the signature events are set up the way they are, I can fully understand the way he is taking some time off. He's obviously got other stuff going family-wise as well. What I'm not cool with, Coach, is standing in the scoring area. The second Bryson's putt goes in, you turn around and walk off and go to your car. Bryson, the champion, is walking into that room in a few minutes to sign his card. You stay there, you shake his hand, you say congratulations. Golf is hard. You lose a lot more than you win. And a reason that I love a lot of the older players that I love, Jack Nicklaus being one, as great a champion as he is, Jack Nicklaus, he was as gracious a loser as he was a champion. He put his arm around you. Way to go. Congratulations. You're not going to get me next time. That's fantastic. Rory did not do that. He jumped in the car, took off. That is bad form. I think as much as we said, we saw that the turn from heel to babyface with Bryson, we might be seeing the opposite with Rory. We really might, because I think that I know how hard golf is. I know how much it devastates you. You stay there, you shake the man's hand and congratulate him. He didn't do that. That's bad form. It
started with Scott Van Pelt Sunday night, and I've seen a lot of other people I respect on TV say exactly the same thing. And they gave examples of guys who have stayed there after a gutting loss. And all you have to do is go back to Phil Mickelson. He had a chance to complete the career Grand Slam, for God's sakes, and made one of the most boneheaded decisions of all time, and still stood there and berated himself in front of the cameras famously after a U.S. Open. Remember that? So you got to stand there and talk. You just have to. There is no excuse. Raphael, do you agree with RD?
I agree, but at the same time, a guy that has to watch a lot of sports and has to handicap a lot of stuff and do odds for lessons. I'm used to this stuff. I'm used to the Pistons walking off the court when the Bulls beat them. I'm used to head coaches of football not going to the middle of the field and shaking hands after Super Bowls or NFC championships. So it doesn't really shock me. I think the most important part we have to remember, he's going through a lot of family issues as well. So You have to put all that into perspective. And I don't think he's going to be a complete heel. I think forgiveness. I think he's going to take a month off. We're not going to see him for a month. When he comes back, the true golfers are going to remember, but not the novice people who are going to watch the Open and watch him play. They're going to probably forget about all that. So I don't think he's going to be a complete heel, but I'm looking at it more as I've seen it before. It's going to happen again. And I have to look at it. Don't forget all about that family issues. I mean, because there's a lot of family issues going on. Not even a month ago.
Yeah, well, they were actually filmed at an aquarium or something like that with his daughter and his wife on Monday. So they were all together as they now reconcile. They have withdrawn the divorce. I'm kind of on both sides of the fence with you guys. I get it. But at the same time, when you're in an individual sport and you're the face of that sport, and these are major championships, and part of the reason he made $2 million is because of the interest in the sport and the investment. Sometimes you got to stand there, but I understand. He's special because it's been 10 years. He has over 20 victories. He's one of the greatest players of all time, but he can't get it done in the majors, and that's got to be wearing on him. It's got to be wearing on him. All right, let's spin it forward to this week. Final signature event of the year. And minus Rory, all of the big boys are playing at TPC River Highlands, par 70, one of the shortest courses RD on tour. Keegan Bradley trying to become the first player since Phil Mickelson back in 01 and 02 to repeat at this particular event. But now we start to look forward to the playoffs. We're less than 2 months away, and players are now starting to jockey not just for the FedEx Cup playoffs, but also for the President's Cup this year. What do you think the mindset is for these top players today, or this week, rather?
There's no question President's Cup is on the mind of a lot of these players, especially some of the Canadian players that want to play in Montreal for Captain Mike Weir. I love this tournament. I really hope that what happened to Rory, him, okay, let's face it. I know guys don't like to say it. He choked.
He did.
He missed 2 putts coming in. It's called a choke. I'm sorry. We've all done it. I hope that story and him not being there doesn't take away from an awesome field and an awesome tournament. And once we tee off Thursday, all that's gone. And it's a course that everybody seems to love because it's almost like it's not as pretty as Hilton Head, but it's one of those courses where everyone has a chance. Distance is negated at this golf course. It's not as big a deal hitting it long at this TPC at Hartford as it is in many other courses. So I think when we get around to our picks, some of my picks are going to reflect that very thing. Maybe not the longest hitters this week, some precise hitters this week.
Yeah, it's only 6,800 yards. If you've ever been to TPC River Highlands, there's so many places that you can sit and stand and see 4 and 5 holes all at the same time. It's a great viewing golf course. And Raphael, Scotty Scheffler, last year it was at T4. He has 5 wins already this season, but he's coming off the first time ever where he's had 5 straight rounds over par, the last round of the Memorial and all 4 rounds at the U.S. Open. Do you think Scotty bounces back this week, Raphael?
Well, I hope not, because I don't have him on my card that we're going to be seeing pretty soon. But I think you could. I mean, he's still the #1 golfer in the world. And you guys talked about it. It's a short course. My twin brother actually played at this course. I talked to him today because when I was doing research, I'm like, wait a minute, I think my twin brother's played here. And he told me he looked like he was a pro smashing the ball because it's such a short course. So I'm going to say, yes, he could probably bounce back. But precise is going to be key here. Well, besides weather, because weather is going to be a huge key here. But precise is going to be key.
What is the weather schedule be like? I know you always have that information.
Not good. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, rain. Or thunderstorm Friday, Saturday, Sunday, passing rain.
Great.
Right, be very careful.
I'll be there.
Oh, you got PGA Tour Live this week?
You know it. Get rained on. Maybe I hope the lightning misses me. It's supposed to be hot, I know, too. That's great.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. If it's not raining, it's a heat advisory.
Oh, that'll be really nice. That means they'll pop up out of nowhere. All right. By the way, find out what stream are you on this week, RD?
I am on stream 1, the main feed. Billy Kratzer, the best of the best, and John Swantek, the old pro.
I call him the A-team. I call him the governor, and I call RD the absolute very best. Not just because on our team, he is. Time to put some respect on RD's name. Let's go. All right, we've got 5 categories we got to get to today. And I tell you what, there's a good mixture of young and old. And also, there's a few exemptions that are always given out at these signature events. Michael, I always butcher his name. Thorbjornsson, I think that's right. He's making his professional debut this week. He's the #1 player in the PGA Tour University standings. I love that they created this. Ludwig Oberg was the winner last year. You've seen what he's done in 1 year since college. So I like the fact that Michael's in the field this week. So we start with our first round leaders. And Raphael, we're nothing if not very nice to our guests here at DTL Golf. So I'm going to allow you to go first. And speaking of Ludwig Oberg, I'm a next level host. How about that transition? Let's go. Why do you like him?
Yeah, I love this kid. I mean, he shows no fear on the course whatsoever. And you said precise. This kid's so precise. So I think that's why I like him first round. I mean, last year he shot a 67, and he finished tied for 24th at this course. So I like him. I think he had 22-1. Great number. Will probably drop. And it's going to be very interesting. I think a lot of these long shots will drop and a lot of favorites will go upwards because if you look at the history of this course, it's a dog course. So a lot of dogs win this one. So if you're playing favorites or playing low guys, their numbers could be moving probably as we speak right now. But I like this number at 22-1.
And why do you like Wyndham Clark?
Oh, I'm sorry, Wyndham Clark. Just because he's precise, I like this game on this one. It's a short course. I think he'll do well. It's right off the get-go. I mean, last year he shot a 68 in the first round, so I think he knows this course. And if the weather precises on Thursday, get a good score on Thursday because we might have trouble Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I was a little bit shocked. I saw the PGA Tour. One of the handles tweeted out the 4 players on the Olympic team. And Wyndham Clark is one of the 4. It just kind of
really
shocked me just a little bit. Yeah, he's one of the 4.
Yeah, I know that.
Surprised. We're so used to like the Spieths and the JTs and those names making these teams. But yeah, Clark, Scheffler, Xander, and Colin Morikawa are the 4 that'll be on the Olympic team for the United States. All right. Now, this seems like a perfect course for your guy that you think will lead after 18 holes. RD, talk to me.
Well, this is a guy that loves this golf course because he did finish top 10, tied for 7th last year at 18 under par. It's a guy that not that long ago was 8 shots back with 9 to go in Texas and birdied 8 of the last 9. So he can go deep. And my theory, and I haven't hit one yet, but by gosh, I've been close. My theory has been that to shoot a really good round, any round, you have to be a great putter that day. You have to make putts to be the lowest round in the field. McCarthy makes more putts day after day after day than anyone on tour over the last 5 years. So this pick, I only went with one pick this time. I went with the guy that can drain it from everywhere and a guy that loves this golf course and doesn't really bomb it and doesn't have to.
He used to be known as the best putter on the tour. Now he's just known as one of the best players on the PGA Tour. Now, this next category, we call it our bread and butter. And if you're talking unit size and you're $100 better, this is where you put your full $100 on each play. Head-to-head matchups, you only got to beat one other guy. So, Raphael, your first play, I was actually there years and years ago when Patrick Cantlay shot a 60. He was still an amateur on this particular course. So he loves it. He knows it. And you think he beats Hideki this week. Let's start there.
Yeah, he does. But really quick on the head-to-head matchups. Bet these quickly because these numbers move quickly. It's one of the biggest sections that gets bet in golf head-to-head matchups, and then usually top 10 seconds. But get these numbers really quick because they move quickly. And I love Cantlay. Granted, Hideki's been playing some really good golf, and I was going back and forth. But the more I research on Cantlay, I think he's going to have a great weekend. So why not do a head-to-head matchup with a nice number at -110? I was hoping to get maybe even money on this one, but I think money came in on Cantlay because I looked at the opening numbers. Some books had -105, some books had +103. So I think money came in on him. So get him. I'll lay the bad number at -110 because I think it moves. So I like Cantlay. Again, I know Hideki's been playing some good golf, but I think Cantlay could have a really, really nice weekend.
And your next one, sir?
Oh, Brian Harman over Russell Henley +105. I was going back and forth on this one, but I think here's another one. U.S. Open, he tied for 7th. Hartman did. I think he's going to have that momentum coming into this one. Here's another one. People don't really think about how good of a putter he is. And again, short course, I think his short game will be fit well here. I'm going to take the plus money on this one, +105, and grab, I would say maybe wait on this one because the other side is getting action. I'm waiting to see if I can get +110. We might get +110 because one shop has +107 right now. So if we can get the better number at +110, I think it's a good bet because I think he comes in with a nice momentum.
And we tell you all the time, 20 or 30 cents may not seem like a lot to you, but if you bet all the time year round, it starts to add up. Raphael, thank you very much. Now, I think of precise. That's a word I think of when I think of Cantlay and Harmon. And also, you got different matchups in golf depending on the sports book that you use. So, RD, you love Cantlay, but against a different player. I'm a little surprised at this one. I would love to hear your explanation.
Well, we know Cantlay's record around here, like you said just a minute ago, 60 when he was an amateur, all the way to he tied fourth last year. Plays well around this track, and I got over at BetMGM. I found him as an underdog against Ludwig Aberg, and I was thinking, why would they do this? A guy that plays so well against Aberg. Yes, people love Ludwig. He's probably getting a lot of bets pushing that line from people that know the name and know the talent, but don't quite look beneath the surface. And beneath the surface at the U.S. Open, he started off hitting his first 20-something fairways in a row. All the greens, like he was hitting greens like crazy. And it is Pinehurst number 2 is mentally exhausting, but when you're struggling, and he began to struggle and hit funky shots, his game was leaving him slowly but surely on the weekend. That really takes a lot out of you. So I'm taking the experience on the course and the fact that I thought Ludwig's game was just kind of tailing out of control late in that tournament. So I'm kind of fading that guy as, unfortunately, my Kentucky brother, but I got to do it as I'm fading Justin Thomas. I haven't bet a lot on Spieth. Spieth hasn't shown us a whole lot outside of occasionally here and there this year, but he has won on this golf course. He has good vibes on this golf course. Thomas is just in a bad place right now with his game. He's not enjoying himself. He's not having fun. He's not as competitive as he normally is. And that's what he loves. He loves being in the mix and just drumming people. And he hasn't been in the mix in a long time. And I just don't see that changing on a course like this week. So I'm fading JT over Spieth.
I feel really bad for JT right now. At the beginning of the year, remember he posted that, hey, I'm putting last year behind me. I feel like I'm really, really close. I'm going to win. And it's been, 2 years since he won. And that was a PGA championship that he backdoor that win as well. And RD, when you see Tiger Woods working with JT after a 77 in round 1 on the range, that's something you never see. You ever see. That shows where they both are in their games right now, but especially JT, who's playing all the time, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it tells where Tiger is in his career. He would have never helped anyone a few years back. But it also, you're right, it shows exactly where JT is. I'm going to a buddy of mine that I play golf with, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on. And just because Tiger's great doesn't mean he could translate that to Justin Thomas. Just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're a great teacher. So it does show a little bit of stink of desperation.
And that was after Tiger shot a 74 the same day. So he was pissed off too. By the way, you mentioned Jordan winning at this track. I was there when he won, and I think it was the greatest emotional win I've ever seen in the history of sports for my 2 eyes. Literally, the ground was shaking when he holed out of the bunker in extra holes to beat Daniel Berger. And I remember looking at Daniel Berger going, what can you do? And that's what he said. What can I do? One of the greatest finishes of all time. If you haven't seen it, go look it up on YouTube. All right, our third category.
Really quick.
Yes, Raphael.
On head-to-head matchups, I wanted to say this when I was doing mine. If you have a book and another book has a different head-to-head matchup, if you email them or go in your chat and say, hey, you know what, I saw this matchup against this guy, would you bring this one up? 9 times out of 10, they will. So if you only have one book and you see another book, just email, go in the chat and say, hey, you know what, I saw this head-to-head matchup at this place. Would you mind putting this up? All they can do is say no.
I swear to God, I learned something from you every single show. I had no idea you could do that. No idea. That's why you're here. My guy. All right. Third category, finishing positions. Where we tell you to dial it back just a little bit. I can't even tell you how many times that a top 10 has turned into a top 20 like that with a double bogey. So be very, very careful. Raphael, you've dipped your toe in the top 10 market and the top 5 market. Go.
Yeah, as you can tell, I like Patrick Cantlay this weekend because I have him again for top 10. I just like the number. I was really shocked at getting that number. I thought it was going to be anywhere between plus 140, plus 150. So getting that number, I'm going to continue laying that one. Because don't forget, at the Travelers, he's finished top 15 or better in 6 starts. Last year finished tied top 4. So getting me top 10, give me plus 180. I thought that was really, really weird. And then give me the X-Man. Here's another one. I'll lay the minus 140 with the X-Man. Last 2 events tied 7, tied 8, won the PGA. I think he's in a nice groove that we forgot about how kind of a groove he is. No one really talks about the X-Man. So I'll lay the juice at minus 140. I saw BetMGM earlier had minus 150. So I'll lay the minus 140 at top 10. And then give me some plus money like I've been cashing plus money in Euro. Give me the X-Man top 5.
Trivia question. Can you tell me out of 15 events this season, how many times Xander has finished inside the top 10?
I want to say 13.
RD?
12.
RD's closer, 11. That's over 66% of the time inside the top 10.
I saw that earlier too.
That's all right. You're allowed to miss one, Raphael. It's okay. Don't feel bad. But you got a 68 or 69% chance of catching that minus 140 is my point. And then you're going to have that money and transferred into that top 5. That's a great, great pick by Raphael. All right, RD, let me come over to you. You got, and I love Thomas Dietrich, man. This guy is going to be an absolute superstar. Talk to me.
He has been as consistent as anyone that the mainstream golf fans probably aren't aware of. And honestly, these kind of bets, these top 10s, top 20s, they're intriguing bets when you get into a signature event because it's only a 70-ish man field.
Yes.
There's not as many people they have to beat. They don't have to play great. They just have to play good, solid Thomas Dietrich or Tom Hoge golf. So, yeah, Dietrich, who's played fantastic, who had a piece of the lead, actually had the lead by himself at the U.S. Open for some time, but it's just been nice and steady, and I like the numbers. Plus 210 on a top 20, 2-1 on a top 20 for a guy that's been playing that well, and plus 500 on a top 10, a guy that had his, a thought of winning the U.S. Open for a while. And again, we're going back to this golf course that I love. It's not long, but it takes a lot of precision. And over this season, very few people have been as precise as Tom Hoge, especially with his irons. So I love giving a little bit of sprinkle on that, giving him a chance to slide in there, get a ton of FedEx Cup points in the signature event, a top 10, and even, like I said, a top 20 at plus 220. Love those bets. Love that number for those two guys.
Listen to what RD just said. Really lean into precise iron players. And through the first 3 categories, that's exactly what my guys have done. You're only going to see a driver out here maybe 4, maybe 5 holes. There's going to be a lot of 5 woods and 3 woods and irons. So lean in. Hoagie's one of the best iron players on tour, as RD just said. All right, now I've got to start with RD here because we got to give his flowers. Last week, all 3 of my experts said that Bryson DeChambeau would be the guy. All 3. So, RD, that might have been your first winning cash of the year. I'm glad Fast Eddie isn't here. He likes to brag about the Scheffler wins, but those didn't happen. So this week, though, you're leaning in. Obviously, can't lay, but I love the other part about these signature events is you get some really good numbers on players, and I think that Tom Kim number is really, really good. Why don't you start there?
Tom Kim is my favorite bet of all the ones that we have picked so far today. When I looked at that and I saw that number, again, we're talking a golf course where power isn't important, precision is. Tom Kim hits every fairway. He hits greens like crazy. His game has been trending super nicely. He finished tied 4th in Canada and just played unbelievable good golf. He finished T26 last week. He had a bad final round, but it was so hard it could get away from him just a little bit. And tie 26 is very nice playing. And when you look at plus 4,000 for Tom Kim, a proven winner on a course that isn't benefiting the longer hitters, incredible pick on that one. I agree with you fully, Coach. I agree with you agreeing with me, Coach. Smart on your part. Cantlay, we're talking Cantlay. This is one of his happy places. He played super well, obviously paired with Rory last week. And could it have been a little better? Sure. But he's playing great. He's going to a place he loves, a place that he reads the greens wonderfully. And Morikawa is kind of odds on my favorite. But again, what did I say about Hoge? Precise iron player. Morikawa, that's what he's known for, precise iron play.
That's all right. Motion in the chat said, already bet Tom Kim. So confused as to why it's so high. Well, a lot of times in these signature events, they've got to spread the numbers out. So you bet on other players that aren't the top players, or they don't have a huge number on Scotty Scheffler or these guys that are favorites, and then they got to pay those out. So you got to make some other guys a little more sexy to play. And this week, the book said Tom Kim is one of those. All right, Raphael, let me come over to you, big boy, because you're doing what we like to call stacking. You think it's going to be a couple of players, and they're going to be all at the top of the leaderboard. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm not good money management when it comes to that one, but I agree with you on the golf scenario. I mean, the books want to hold anywhere between 9 to 10% on golf to win it all. That's why you see the Schefflers at plus 360 and the X-Men at plus 750. So getting that Kim number is correct, because he's not going to be a lot of fan favorite action coming in. So 40-1. Now, don't forget, Patrick Cantley. Yeah, I use him 20-1, but he's the last one that won 20-1 was the X-Men in 2022. We've had big upsets on this one. Last year, Bradley, 85-1 that won it. 2019, Ches Reavie. Did even still golf? He was 70-1. So we've had some big monster winners. That's why I like Harmon more at 40-1. And then I do like Cantley. I think Cantley's gonna have a really, really nice weekend. But for the price of me getting Harmon at 40-1, I'll lay that one, because, like I said, some long shots have not been doing well at this course, so I'll take that. Don't forget, Harris English was 35-1 in 2021, and I think he had 6 tickets written on that one. I have to go back and look at that one, but again, not that many big names win this one.
Wasn't that 9-hole playoff that he won with? Eight or 9 holes?
I do, but I remember it was a playoff. I don't remember how many.
Yeah, and he beat who's the kid from Texas, man? He hasn't done a whole lot. He beat in that playoff.
It wasn't Hayden Buckley, was it? It was
no. Oh my gosh. Somebody in the chat, you guys know it. He played at Texas, lost in a playoff to Harris English in like 9 holes. It was an amazing playoff, 9 or 10 holes. Somebody will tell us, I guarantee you, within 15 or 20 seconds. We'll have. I forgot
DJ won this tournament a couple of years ago. Didn't he win? Dustin Johnson won this. Wasn't it 2020?
Back when he was hot. Back when he was hot.
But he was like,
won a lot.
He was close to 30-1.
Yeah. He won a lot back in the day.
30-1 on that one. I remember he was almost 30-1 to win that one at that time. He won.
Yeah, the books hadn't quite caught up on the whole golf betting at that point of things. All right, we got one category left. And again, thank you to all of you who tune in live here on a Tuesday on demand. We love all of you as well. So this is a long shot category. This is where we put everything that doesn't belong in every other place. So, Raphael, let me start with you, because Wyndham Clark, boy, he has not been playing well, but you think because of that number, which is crazy for a U.S. Open champion, I don't mind him in the long shot category. Explain yourself.
I know his short game has not been precise since we've been using that word a lot lately, but again, 60-1. I mean, he's won other events. And I'm looking at this. Okay, we could have weather. Could they be maybe playing on Monday? So that could be a big difference and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I just couldn't pass up to 61. And I'm going to have Robert talk about Ben An, because I've watched him the last couple of times. He's loved this guy for many shows. So I'll give him the handoff on that one. But Ben An, again, 75-1 with the history we've seen in this course with long shots winning it. I couldn't pass up 75-1 with Ben An either.
Why do we like Ben on there? Let's start with him for you, RD.
Yeah, so he's been playing well as of recently in the last couple of months. Fourth at Byron Nelson, third at Wells Fargo, and the important part, I've said it before, he is a fantastic iron player. I don't have his stats pulled up in front of me. Doesn't matter. Take my word for it. The guy can hit iron shots like not very many can. So at plus 7,500, Ben An is a beautiful long shot and a guy that's due to win a golf tournament. And then I've also got the postman, JT Poston, plus 8,000. Now you might say to yourself, Robert, hasn't Poston played here 6 times and missed the cut 5 of those 6? Yes, he has. But do you know what he did on the one time he didn't miss the cut? Second place. So it's not like he doesn't know how to play here. Here's a guy that's a good player. He's played good, steady golf this year, makes a ton of putts, 80-1. That is absolutely worth a sprinkle on a multiple winner like JT Poston.
No doubt about it. Amazing bets. I see a couple people in the chat wondering why Steve Scott didn't send it his. Don't worry. He'll be with RD up at the Travels. We'll get some round-by-round picks. By the way, those of you last week, I punished you just a little bit because you guys are getting lazy on me. So I gave out picks live on the show, did not put them on the recap screen, and we won all of them. You got to watch these shows live, especially the morning show. Don't get lazy. All right, that's going to do it for us. What a busy, busy summer it's been, and it will continue to be as we have 2 months left for the FedEx Cup playoffs, and this is exactly where you want to be. RD, Raphael, thank you very much. Producer man, thank you for my one shot. It is now that time because JJ's waiting for my tee time, so I got to get the hell out of Dodge. And understand this, it's time for you to go out, get your tee time, play with friends, understand how great the game of golf can be, and understand this is where you want to be. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Travelers Insurance Championship Golf TPC River Highlands tickets straight to the play pay window. Damn. Right, Tacker Lobo. My man RD. My numbers guy Raphael. Producer man, always behind the scenes. I am simply the coach trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about every single week right here on DTL Golf. Good luck.